Bloober team, if you're not aware, is the developers of a lot of very popular horror games, including The Medium and oh, what's the one that I even put in the title today? Good grief. Why is it slipping my mind? Layers of Fear. Yes, Layers of Fear 1 and 2. And uh, some other very popular. Observer was another one, sort of a cyberpunk horror-y game. Uh, all of their games have been fairly well received, and this new one, The Medium, is it looks quite interesting. But anyway, they've been hinting that they are working on an existing horror IP from a famous publisher, and some are speculating that it could be Silent Hill.
This is really broad speculation. Like it really is. It's kind of like they're kind of like, ooh, we're working on something, and it's quite a famous IP from a famous
Ooh.
publisher. And immediately people are like, oh, Silent Hill, Silent Hill, Silent Hill. It's like Silent Hill is just one of literally dozens of frozen IPs that haven't been worked on or aren't being worked on by quote unquote famous developers or famous publishers that it has been out. You got the Dead Space series, right? You've got a ton of these other series and shows and concepts that have been around for a really really long time, but have either in some way or another been frozen. Like just I mean stuff from the early '90s alone is massive, and then stuff from the early aughts, like that's also massive, and then things from the 2010s, there's a whole bunch of candidates in there too. So jumping on this and assuming that it's Silent Hill is perhaps very is perhaps even a little
Presumptuous?
healthy side. Yeah. It could also be that they're working on an existing horror IP that's not this maybe not directly linked, or maybe that's not directly, like they could be doing something in the in an existing series that's not necessarily, now they say it here that it's it's connected to a horror IP, but is it a horror IP or is it a horror version or twist on the new IP? The other thing that it could be, and I think you might be excited about this, is that it could also be Five Nights at Freddy too. So we might have a revamp to that genre here as well. So it really is like quite
So
distinctive in the fact that it can be several different things.
is it really just pure speculation and assumption that it could be Silent Hill? Like, is this just a guess on their part?
It's just a guess on their part,
Mhm.
and it's like I said, it's kind of unhealthy speculation because people jump to the first thing that came to their mind,
Mhm.
right? And it's like okay, like it seems kind of weird that you go that far. Um, and yeah, but still, it's like it could literally be anything.
Yeah.
It could be, it could be something connected to Castlevania. I think they even mentioned that in the article. And then there's a couple other things that it could be. It's not necessarily guaranteed to be this. This seems to be a little bit more of a. I We know that in the past they pitched to do this,
That
but the
Bloober team
pitch was
did?
turned. Yes, but the pitch was turned down.
Okay.
So, like, would it have been agreed to so recently? Like there was only a few years ago that they pitched it, and it was turned down, and it was turned down from what I heard, it was turned down quite brutally. So if
Huh.
that's the case, then we have a serious, there's a serious problem there with that. So,
Interesting. It also says here
mhm,
VGC understands that Konami has already outsourced a Silent Hill project to a prominent Japanese developer with a reveal due this summer.
mhm.
So, interesting.
So again, Silent Hill. I think there's definitely a new Silent Hill in the works because it's just too good of an IP, and Konami is starting to run low on cash, and they've also become the brunt end of many jokes and had a significantly hard time in their localized like communities right now, as far as like people calling them that they're not a gaming studio anymore, and they even went out of their way to say, "Oh no, we're still making games." And they're like, "Oh, so what are you making?" Well, we're still making stuff. Like, didn't you get rid of all your game developers except for the ones that are working on pachinko machines? Well, yeah, but I mean, they're still working on projects. Oh, what kind of projects? Stuff, it's super top secret right now. But we're working on things, and so the fastest way for Konami to put out a game right now, I think, is for them to outsource it to somebody else.
All right then.
So that's kind of how I'm looking at it, and assuming that like this is probably the direction that they would head in. It's not a guarantee. It's just a subtle option, right? So yeah, there's some significant things that need to be kind of ruled out, and then there's, again, because this is completely rumor and hearsay, we can assume that there's a good chance that it's going to be a different IP. And again, Dead Space, I think, is actually Dead Space and Five Nights at Freddy's is the more likely chance of that. And because Five Nights at Freddy just got the movie announcement too, right? So, or sorry, is it
Like
the
5
movie
years
announcement?
ago, but yeah.
No. Like, what's the one that uh Crazy Man, the
That one.
bees.
Yeah, with
Um,
Nicolas Cage.
yeah, Nicolas Cage. Yeah,
That's not a it.
it's the
It's
oh yeah,
not Five
it's not a
Nights,
it's
but
not
it is.
yeah, yeah.
It's very reminiscent of it. People were drawing a lot of
Reminiscent.
comparisons.
Yeah.
So
So which is I think what the correlation there is that the Five Nights at Freddy one has been spinning in the dirt recently, and they keep running into issues with it, and then looks like somebody just kind of have literally like beat them to the punch on this, and especially if that movie does like really well for horror movie, I mean that's gonna really sting, you know that's gonna really sting them for having missed out on this opportunity. So yeah, we'll see where that goes.
yeah. This picture. Sorry, I cut off her head there on the screen. I was just thinking about how many confused boners has this picture caused over the years.
Not,
It's like
I don't think as many
hot,
as you think. Like that's
terrifying, hot,
I,
terrifying.
Again, her suit is made out of skin, so I mean,
And it
Okay,
stays
horrible,
good.
horrible. Let's make that go away. Let's make
so
that go
I
away.
mean, I'm just pointing out that again, you're I mean, that's pretty common as far as like horror stuff goes.
I
So,
know it is. I'm
Yeah,
just
like
making
look at the
jokes, man,
vampire
making
lady.
jokes. Sorry.
Supposedly, like think of the vampire lady and how well that went. Ooh, scary.
Scary and yes,
Scary, pretty.
and everybody wants Death by Snoo Snoo from 9 Foot Vampire Lady. Yes, I know.